Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is Friday, October 10th already. So, looking back at yesterday's session, we had that iron condor on the SPX, and the lower ends were from um, the put strikes were 67.15 and 67.20. So we went, kind of rotated right into that area, and then later in the day, just kind of pushed away from it as, that iron condor held, right? So just, failure to go lower. Some people call it a poor low, but just kind of pushed up. Nothing, no big deal really for that. And then as we look at the NQ, right, it went right into its excess line and kind of responded, and it basically just spent the day inside the meat of value. Not a lot going on there either. And then as we look at the toss, 1 day expected move low was right around 607 half. That's around where we bottomed out on the Qs and the NQ, and you can see the toss, 1 day expected move low into the range was right around 67, 67 half, and we went down to 67, 60, basically 61 right in there. So everything stayed pretty much in check yesterday. Uh, and then it was a little frustrating probably after you finally hit that lower end of the iron condor, although you could have, you know, covered down there, went long, and then you just closed out before the end of the day. Hindsight's 2020, but uh, again, for us day traders, it's hard. Sometimes you just sit in those mechanical trades like that uh, into the close. So looking at yesterday's point of control, 67.78 half is where we are. We're currently trading 83 half. So just a smidgen above there, we've kind of been hovering around that point of control in the overnight session. Still just kind of hanging out here at these all-time highs, right? Yesterday we made an all-time high on both of the indexes. Um, One time framing up is still intact. And then as we kind of look at where we're at right now, we're just slightly above unchanged. Uh, you can see that the Russell, holding below that excess line. Everyone's holding above the excess line except for the NQ, right? It was an outlier. It spent the majority of the night above that level, and now it's, finally losing it marginally, and then we'll see. Keep in mind that Fridays uh, tend to be slightly more whippy or volatile than some of the other days on balance. And then you know everyone is in balance or in value or at value area high, with the exception of the Nasdaq, who's slightly above that at this point in time. So we'll see if we've built some overhead supply up in the overnight range, and can kind of get some lower checks in or whatever. Uh, the overnight low for the NQ right now is 610 on the Qs, right? It basically ran down to that 610 level and went up back up to 612. We're currently trading 611, so you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that that's pretty much right around the halfway back on that last little measured move there. No big deal. And then it's pretty much the that 610 was also uh, right around within a few ticks or points of the 610 being the halfway back from yesterday, as we traded down to 607 half, and in the overnight session up to almost the 612 half. 610 will be in the middle of that. So just kind of traipsing along here, not really doing a lot. We may or may not have University of Michigan at 10 o'clock today, so we'll have to see from that. But basically unchanged. We'll see where we go from here. Uh, the call wall for the day on the SPY is right at 672. So we traded up to 672 half overnight, basically. So we're right around the call wall. But the toss one-day expected move is basically from 667 up to 675. So, we're right in the middle of that. For the Qs, you're looking at, 606 half basically up to 615 is where we are. So there is room to the upside. That would be about $4 up or 163 points basically from where we are on the NQ. If we hit the top of the range, that would put us in and around 25,460 as the top end of the range. And then looking, lower, it would just be about 40 points under yesterday's low of the day. So that will put us, right around that 25,120 area. So there's your range of normalcy. Not a lot going on here. And then we'll just see. I'll probably sit out the first 25 minutes and just see if it likes to pick a direction. It's been fairly tight in the overnight session. We've had for the Nasdaq, basically a 100-point range, and for the ES, right around a 20-point range. So, just sitting here hanging out, not doing a lot, and then we'll see. So, what I'm interested to see is if this excess line uh, holds right, and you can see there's a large gamma here at 611 as well. So that's going to be a little bit of a bogey. Keep in mind, 610 to 611. I've got it drawn out. There's basically subsets of clusters in the positioning today. 610 to 613 basically, and 605 to 610 is another big block of just you know junk. So you could just sit there and oscillate around in here on a two-sided tape potentially. So we'll see. Again, watch the VIX, see if we get anything. Next week is OPEX. However, the VIX does not roll next Wednesday, so that kind of mutes uh, the volatility a little bit. So I would expect volatility to pick up uh, the Wednesday after OPEX. So if you're looking at your calendar, expect volatility to pick up uh, basically around the 22nd of October. Uh, and then it should be, from there into the end of the month is where you should see volatility expand dramatically. Until then, until you see volatility expand, you have to assume that we're going to hold within these predicted ranges for what the expected moves are for the day as the high and the low of the range, give or take, just a marginal amount. I hope this helps. We'll see what Jack's looking at next. You guys have a great weekend.